Hey everyone. I'm very pleased to have Daniel Höhnke. No, I tried.
It's good. It's fine.
Come on. I wanted to try. I do have a Danish cousin, so I should be like somewhat better pronunciation than the American, but how it goes. Um, General Manager of EMEA at Andzen. Andzen is a very close partner with Orita. This is such a pleasure. I met Daniel before. For those who don't know, my name is Aaron. I'm one of the founders of Orita. We build AI customer segments for a bunch of Klaviyo brands, Spanx, Caraway, handful of Andzen customers. I don't want to say who because I'm not sure who we actually have permission to say or not. But yeah, you just joined them, and so Daniel, let me be quiet for a moment and have you give a proper introduction to yourself.
Yes, thanks, Aaron, and thanks for the invitation to your podcast. Really love it. I know I step here in big footsteps of one of my colleagues, Jason. So I hope that will be fine. But yeah, you mentioned it. I have quite some podcast experience already. But yeah, let me start a little bit earlier because even longer, I'm part of this incredible industry. Started in the early 2000s. On the merchant side, back in the days, we tried to build the very, very, very first pure online shop for furnitures in Germany, which was an incredible experiment and experience. Some people will know what it means when I say, yeah, we started this whole adventure based on Magento 0.6. That was, from a technical perspective, it's different than today, fortunately. And yeah, then I switched quite fast on the agency side, started with some friends, an e-commerce agency, more or less, and became, in 2011, for example, we became Shopify partner, big solution in Germany, and started to build online shops. And as almost everything back in the days, and especially when you start something new, you do literally everything, or you try to do literally everything. And yeah, I moved on. In 2020, I became a little bit more international, went on to an international or global acting e-com agency, which was for me personally a big eye opener because just need to say the German community in e-commerce is still today quite closed in terms of it's a big community in Germany, but not very international. So it was great to see how this business works on the global scale, especially in North America, in UK, and so on and so on. And yeah, just recently joined Andzen, and I'm very, very proud of it.
It's great. I mean, they definitely have the best hats in the game, and very nice, sharp team as well. And you guys are amazing with customers. But yeah,
It's unbelievable. In literally every partner call I have had in the recent weeks, everyone told me that it's the best team. And I always thought that, but it's also great to hear that from
very
the
well.
outside, of course.
You got a high bar to hit. All right, I want to go back just for like genuinely curious because my background, I ran a brand for about 7 years before. I've never been on the agency side, but I switched over to do shipping and returns and obviously like marketing and kind of like AI segmentation. When you think back to like switching from being the brand owner to moving in or like being on the brand side to being into the agency side, what was the decision like? And I'm also curious, like, what about your history as a brand owner has helped you while you've been on the agency side?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to be here a little bit more specific. I wasn't the brand owner. I was part of the founding team of the first team, which were built up within a big accelerator company. So for example, our neighbor or sister company was back in the days Zalando. Today the biggest fashion retailer
Sure.
in whole of Europe. Huge company today. Back in the days, 20 people who did a similar experiment in selling shoes. So
I love it.
yeah, very, very different time. And the thing is, it is, I have to admit, it is a little bit more for me personally interesting not to work only with one brand or on one brand. And the agency side is, of course, a perfect place to work in more or less in different industries with so many different people, with so many different challenges. And yeah, that was, for example, one of the reasons why I decided to join the agency side. But to be honest, back in the early 2010 years, we were in a kind of I wouldn't say Wild West, but it was like, okay, our industry was so young. We still had people who said, yeah, this is this internet thing that goes away maybe at
Mhm.
some point or something like this. So there were a lot of room to grow in, let's say it that way.
I very much appreciate it and heard about the company as well. Do you think you bring a special empathy because you were actually at some point in that one brand though, versus like you get to come in from the outside, or how do you think that has helped you in your journey?
Well, back in the days, absolutely. But after a couple of years on the agency side, it was, I gained so many experiences, got in touch with so many different people, so many different challenges. From my personal perspective, I would say joining the agency side was the best decision ever. Even when I would say also, agency land is not always fun, of course, like everywhere. So a little bit the color of my little beard here is definitely the result of the agency life. But yeah, I never thought back and regretted my decision now.
Understood. In terms of the German market, as you were kind of talking about it, it was really interesting to hear you say that it felt more insular. And do you
Yeah.
think that was in spirit because of how German e-commerce just kind of developed and like consumer preference? Or is it more just like, hey, look, we have a good community, things are going well, so we're not as attuned to what's happening in the rest of Europe? And how do you think that's changed over time?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I would say Germany itself by itself is such a big economy, such a big market for everyone. It is literally the third largest economy in the world. The cake is quite large. So that means on both sides, for merchants, but also for the tech ecosystem, for the agency ecosystem, the market was depends a little bit on the perspective, is so big that you could run literally an entire business, doesn't matter which side you're on, which is only German focused. And there aren't any other examples within Europe. Maybe France a little bit, also a very large economy, but you can't compare, for example, with the UK. The UK was always highly influenced naturally by the United States or technologies which came out of the United States. For me, by the way, one of my greatest moments I had, I guess, I don't know, I'm not sure anymore. It was 2017 or 18. I joined a summit from Digital actually in London. And that was a very eye-opening moment for me. Just to give you a little bit more insight about it, back in 2017, I talked literally every day about personalization could help in this case and that case, etc., etc. And I went to this event in London, and it was like, okay, yeah, everyone has understood this. This is not the question anymore. The question is, how far can we take recommendations and personalization and stuff like that? And it was like, wow. Even today in 2026, I would say that the UK, as an example, is maybe 3, maybe 4 years ahead of Germany, for example. It is changing a little bit, especially through the on or growing market dominance, for example, of Shopify. It brings naturally the entire Shopify ecosystem into the market, but there's still a way to go, definitely.
Actually want to, I have a couple threads I want to pull on from stuff you've said, but why don't we actually stay on the personalization piece, right? Because like we know how innovative Andzen is, and obviously you're new into this role, but you've got to think about, cool, how do we expand across EMEA? Or that's my understanding of the role, right?
Absolutely.
But it's also like you guys are an AI first CRM agency, so like, what does that mean for you? What does it like as you're seeing the technologies that are out there? What's kind of been grabbing your attention as well?
This is, first of all, it's hard to keep up with all the AI news on a daily basis. As mentioned, with a co-host together, I have a very successful podcast in German because we started in 2018 in German. Actually, the original name is today called Ecommerce Dudes. Back in the days, we started as AI in e-commerce. So because we wanted in 2018, we wanted to show, okay, what is possible, especially around this whole personalization stuff. And so since then, I'm very much into it. It's far beyond the ChatGPT wave and so on. But yeah, today I have to say I'm impressed almost on a daily basis how fast this AI train is running. And also from an Andzen perspective, it is great. As you mentioned, I'm quite new in this company. And I would say that's the first ever company I'm working for which has a AI first mindset. What does it mean? Both sides, for example, within the company. So literally every process we have is questioned more or less every day. How can we utilize AI to make our processes better, faster, more efficient, etc., etc. And I can tell you this process, I guess it will never be boring because so much is changing on the technology side that we can do more and better and more efficient, more or less every day. And this is, of course, from our clients also the expectation. We have to be on top of the game. Because on the tool tech side and on our service side, for example, we need to be top of mind. We need to know how to facilitate our tools we have in our ecosystem as efficient and as best as possible to provide our services. We see that, of course, in the market. When we see, for example, recommendation is a very classical example, but also segmentation. Not every customer is the same. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture at hand right now, but maybe you and some of our listeners or viewers have seen it. This comparison between King Charles and Ozzy Osbourne. So both have 5 bullet points, and they are from that perspective, they are the same person. But of course, we all know these both persons can't be more different. And this, of course, with all the different data points we are gathering today from so many tools, so many data silos out there, AI is the technology to bring that all together and serve the clients of our clients in the best way possible. Just heard about a tool who does AI segmentations quite well recently. So
that's cool. By the way, the Ozzy Osbourne, Prince Charles, I had to pull it up. It's like they're both male, both born in 48, both raised in the UK, married twice, live in Castle, wealthy and famous, right? And it's 100% what you're saying is what else? So, right? It's like not, there are a couple data points you can look at to make that decision. Are there specific problems, right? Because there are more tools all the time. Like, what are the specific problems that you're most keen on? Even if it's not solving, it could be something that's good, but if we make it great, it's worth so much more than making something that's not good. So like, what are the problems that you're most focused on today?
What we currently see is, and this, from my opinion, it is a result out of the many years of recession in many different markets, that merchants have started, and that's absolutely correct to do, to check their tech stacks they are currently using, and they're questioning, is it worth it? And it's not getting easier with, I don't know, I have the feeling that every day I learn more about 10 new tools who are out there. So it's a mass of tools out there who are promising to be the holy grail for a merchant. And it is you have to be very, very selective. Which tool really helps? And what is the reason why I should use it? What problem solves it? And sometimes even the problem I don't know yet that I have this problem, which could I solve it? This is also a job for us coming from the outside, which is a benefit on working with an agency like us from Andzen, that we are having so many different views from so many different customers, and we are learning so much, and that bringing that all together and helping, for example, in the tool selection, what makes really sense, where we have made maybe already experiences with, and so on. This is very, very valuable for merchants.
Do you think about it as like personalization? Look, at the end of the day, getting more personalized and like not in a BS way, but in a real way is meaningful, and product recommendations and search. Are there like other buckets of problems that you're kind of thinking through right now, specifically for the brands you guys are serving?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go here more into a more European perspective.
Please.
Because it's more a segmentation thing, I would say, but that's just the beginning. I've worked in the past with so many different, as an agency, with so many tools and with so many merchants who tried from around the globe to enter the European market. But actually there is not a European market. It seems like for many, but Europe is so diverse. And it sounds so obvious. But practically speaking, it is, or the reality looks so different right now. So when we look into opportunities, I would rather call it that way, it is when you start, for example, in your marketing automation or optimizing your marketing automation and so on, a French guy or a French customer is very different than a German customer. Mm-hmm. And an English customer is very different than a Spanish customer. And even within this very obvious different people from different countries, you have so many differences and nuances and so on and so on. So especially for merchants who are trying to sell internationally, which is Europe by default. It is very, very important that everyone starts, okay, I need a strategy for each region. And even within, and it's getting more complicated then, of course, but even within one country, for example, you have very different regions who are acting very, very differently. And this is the thing, I would call it the greatest challenge, but also the greatest chance you have, because I haven't seen in all my years one merchant who has mastered this challenge. So sounds bad, but it isn't. It is a great chance right now for many merchants to step up in the game.
So if I'm a US merchant, 30 million, 50 million, like I've got a real business, right? And I'm moving into the EU. And I'll preface this by saying I co-founded a shipping company called Passport, which is basically international. It's globalization now, but it was US outbound shipping at the start. And it was Canada was 50% of your international, the UK was 20%. Australia was 15%, rest of the world was 15 type of thing. What are the like tactical recommendations you have for a brand that is moving into the EU? Is it, hey, actually start in the UK because it's English speaking something, or is it start in Germany because it's the biggest market and then go into the next country, or build your campaign specific? Like, how would you actually tell somebody to get started? And it'll obviously be more complex than this, but what are the big beats that I should hit?
Yeah. Of course, it depends on what are you selling? What is your target group, of course? So it can be very obvious to say, okay, I'm a North American merchant. I start in the UK because you don't have much language issues. It's easier to get into, but even there you have differences, obviously. But it depends a little bit. For some merchants, it could be, for example, more valuable go to Germany first, or to France first, or to Spain first, just as an example, a very practical example. And that's, of course, dipped with a little of stereotypes, but they are sometimes pretty true. In Germany, people, when they dress their children, they dress them more functional, just as an example. Yeah? Because when they go to the playground, kids get dirty. So it's easier to clean them up. In Spain, for example, they dress their kids like going to a wedding. So if you sell, for example, high value, high class children fashion, just as an example, it might be better to start in Spain instead of Germany. And of course, because I've seen it, and it sounds again so obvious, but when you're coming from the English speaking world and you start in Europe, in any country, you miss a lot of opportunities, frankly speaking, when you just do it in English. I'm just saying that because I've seen that many times where people expect, but people have English in school, so it should be fine. No, it's not. Absolutely not. There are even more than nuances in the language game. For example, between Germany and Austria. Both countries speak officially German, but the language itself is very, very different. When you think about Switzerland, in Switzerland, they speak 3 languages, or officially 4, but 3 major languages. So this is something you need to consider. Definitely not try to, okay, I need the perfect setup in the beginning. Of course not. You have best practices who work more or less in every region in the same way, but you need to optimize it on a daily basis. Your setup has to be optimized on a daily basis and go forward. So to answer your question, it's hard to generalize the answer, of course. So, but you have made your experiences. You have a great setup in the United States, for example. Use what you have, but have in mind that it doesn't necessarily mean that this setup is a best setup for another region.
I mean, what I'm hearing from you still is like deep empathy for your customers, like truly understand your customer base. You've got, kids' clothes of one variety or another. It's obviously a different customer. In terms of you guys working with brands that are in EMEA or expanding, is it still like, hey, actually you want to use Klaviyo and campaigns and flows? Like, is it still the basics? Are there fundamental differences because of GDPR or some other reason that a brand should be mindful of?
Let's say the GDPR was, especially in the beginning, a huge factor of uncertainty. What is possible? What is not possible? Is my tool or is my tech stack GDPR compliant? Also a question. It could be in Germany, but not in France. And so that also added some extra uncertainty. I would say, meanwhile, it is more or less a solved thing. It depends, of course, a little bit.
We were very proud to get GDPR compliance. And of course, I'm sure
I guess so.
Levels of complexity beyond it, but at the end of the day, it's privacy and it's making sure you treat customers well and you set the brand up for success.
when you think about before the GDPR got in place, because it was, for example, before the Brexit happened, so it was also a thing in the UK. And I just talked to some partners in the UK, and the practice back in the day was, okay, I'm buying lists with, I don't know, 100,000 email addresses, and I'm just spanning them through. Of course, this is even without GDPR, it would be today a very bad idea to do. We need to take care about our customers. We need to take them serious, and we need to create offers who are highly personalized. Only then you will drive conversions. Because you mentioned our expanding clients in EMEA, we're coming in with, of course, some kind of a foundation, I would say. The classics, like a bonded cart flow, just as an example, makes sense and is easy to start with. But from then, you need to optimize it for each region, for each of your target groups, and so on. I guess one of the newly or recent greatest news I read was, for example, that Klaviyo has adopted finally the Shopify Markets functionality. It was possible before to drive an international setup, of course, within Klaviyo, but was it great? No. It created a lot of overhead, a lot of tingle-tangling within the tool. Right now, it is possible to do a proper setup and go with a proper setup into a market, for example, and optimize it on a daily basis.
That's very cool. I read about that. I haven't experienced it myself, but it's very cool to, like, you clearly light up when you get to talk about that one.
Oh yeah, this is something I've waited for years, and it was always I don't know if we're in public, but it was a fuck up, to be honest.
Let's do it.
To drive an international setup, and now it's got much easier, and this gives, of course, again, space to concentrate on the important things.
That's great. Daniel, thank you. I know this is brief. I have 50 more questions, and I'm excited that we get to partner together. You and I will chat on Slack and otherwise soon.
Oh, please.
But I want to, in the last couple minutes, I want to give space for you to, one, share where can folks find you, find Andzen. Two, who should be reaching out to you and why? So like what size brands or what are the problems that they're facing? And then if there was anything else that you wanted to share or even double click on that you mentioned before, for sure. So where can folks find you? Who should be reaching out? And then anything else you want to share?
Oh yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for the time here. Definitely who we can bring benefit for, and I guess that's the question. It is definitely so we are working with literally all different industries, or with merchants from all different industries, and especially in the B2C sector, where we can definitely create some real good benefit for, because we are a global team at Andzen, so we know how to play the international game. I guess that's one of our major benefits we can provide, and also the other way around. Many European merchants try to get into the North American markets, just as an example. We have a great team over there. This is definitely where we can help. We are one of the top-notch Klaviyo partners in the entire ecosystem, and get in touch over LinkedIn, of course. We are very, very active. We have an amazing marketing plan for this year, so you will hear so much from Andzen, more than ever before. And also to get a personal touch, just as an example, next week we will be in Berlin for the Ecommerce Expo, just as an example. In Berlin, 14,000 attendees. That's huge. It's maybe one of the biggest e-commerce only focused events in the whole of Europe. And we will sponsor the after party. It's time to have fun, and we will be there. Check in, for example, also my podcast, E-commerce Dudes. You will hear also new podcast episodes from Andzen across the globe this year. So we're very close, if you like. And I guess the easiest way is just send a follow on LinkedIn.
I appreciate it. I also just want to say you guys are one of Klaviyo's agencies of the year. Like you're saying nice things about Andzen, but we couldn't recommend a nicer team, a smarter team. So
this is so good to hear.
Yeah. Daniel, you still got to earn your way up, but the rest of no. Daniel, thank you. This is such a pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much. See you.
Hi, I'm Aaron Schwartz, co-founder and co-CEO of Orita.ai. We build AI customer segmentation for some of Klaviyo's biggest brands like Oriana, Spanx, Caraway, Third Love, True Classic, Rem Beauty, and on and on. Brands come to us to help find untapped revenue, improve their click rate, drive away mean bots, and a bunch more. You can learn more or get a free customer engagement audit at Orita.ai.